Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and we got a lot to cover. And I'm going to lead. We're going to be on the air in less than 1 minute. And what I'm going to lead with today is this media panic. It was going on all day yesterday. They're already doing it this morning. They want to panic people over the Dow Jones dropping. And it's such a pathetic attempt to cause panic. So I'm going to start with that, but we got a lot to cover. And although it's Monday, I'm going to call it open phones maybe today because I was off for a week. I usually, when I'm off for a week, I'll come back because a lot's happened. All right, here we go. We got 10 seconds, so stand by. Welcome back, everyone. That's right. Welcome back from my cruise. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. And we're back from our week-long cruise. We've got a lot to cover. And I want to talk about this media panic that's going on about the Dow Jones Industrial Average being down. And there's a lot of other things I want to cover too. Although anytime I'm back from we do our MAGA cruise once a year. This was our 6th one, although we've been doing them for 10 years. But I can't believe we've been doing our cruises for 10 years now. Time flies. I tell you, it does fly. But the first day back is always a Monday. And even though Open Phones is on Friday, I do have a lot that I'm going to cover, but I will also leave it Open Phones today light. You got to be relevant because so much has happened in the past week since we've not been here live with you that if there's anything that's gone on over the last week that you'd like to bring up, you're welcome to do it at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Now, this talk of this stock market crash, first of all, half of the stocks, and this has been widely reported, okay? So this is all over the place if you really pay attention. About 50% of the stocks in the U.S. stock market are owned by the top 1% of income earners, which are the millionaires and the billionaires. So if half the stocks are owned by millionaires and billionaires, the top 1%, of the 50% that's left, how much is owned by the top 2, 3, 4, or even 5%? The majority. The vast majority. I don't know the percentage of that, but the vast majority. Very few everyday Americans own any stocks. Any stocks. Okay? So, exactly. It is a false flag operation. Another thing is, these international corporations that have been selling America out with the deep state, with the Democrat and Republican establishment, the permanent Washington class, all these decades, their entire business plans are set up around these unequal trade deals, okay? America being ripped off. So these huge corporations with huge control over hedge funds and everything, they have massive power in influencing the stock market. They can sell, they can buy in huge quantities and drive the market up or drive the market down. So a lot of what's going on here isn't the import-export equalization that's going on by the president. A lot of it, I would suspect, is stock market manipulation by evildoers who are undermining Trump. Do you see any other way? Come on. These countries around the world have been ripping off the United States. You look at the stock market, okay, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average is just a small little snippet of the stock market. It's no indication of the economy. But if you go around, I don't know, this has been, this idea that the import, export, trade, equalization that Trump is, because that's what he's doing, reciprocal trade. Our import tax will be whatever theirs is against us. That seems pretty fair, doesn't it? Liberals, Democrats into fairness. Why would that affect the stock market right now? Trump's been talking about this during the entire presidential campaign, and he's been talking about it the 2 months of his second term here, a couple of months of his second term. A lot of times you'll hear a story like when a stock goes public, when the tech boom happened, like AOL going public. I remember this one very well. And a lot of people ran out and bought it. Well, the thing is, by the time you've heard of it and I've heard of it, these hedge fund big quadrillionaires, they're already in, right? You're in too late. I'm in too late. The Dow Jones has next to no impact on the everyday American's life. That's a reality. And the media want to convince you that there is a stock market collapse. We're facing an economic depression. Trump is bringing us there. No. What Trump is doing, and this is the British Prime Minister who said this, that he's a weirdo, but he's right about this. President Trump has ended globalism. This is the beginning of the end of globalism. And they are in a panic. Now, for people that aren't the super rich that own stocks in a 401k, as an example, or you own some individual stocks through one of those online things, the only way you've lost any money or will lose money today is if you sell. So are any of you planning on selling off your 401k stocks today? Are any of you selling off your individual stocks that you own this afternoon? If not, you haven't lost money. And we know what President Trump's doing is the right thing. Some of these countries have 80% even higher import taxes on our goods. There's some goods going into Canada, they charge 200-300% tariffs. I mean, are they out of their mind? And we're supposed to suck that up? We're supposed to eat that? All President Trump has done, you know this. I mean, I feel kind of stupid even telling you, but I feel I have to for the liberally impaired that might be tuned in. All President Trump is doing is saying whatever import tax you have on U.S. goods, we're going to have on you. What's wrong with that? If they charge us 10%, we charge them 10%. If they charge us 50%, we charge them 50%. If they charge us 0, we charge 0. What is wrong with that? Why would you be against that? Well, then again, the people that are against it are the ones that are firebombing Tesla dealerships or throwing rocks into Tesla windows driven by women that are pregnant. So I understand they have no sense, okay? The people that are against that are the ones that have been bringing in an army of violent rapist murderers into our country through the southern border for 4 years. These are people that have some problems when it comes to morals. Now, if you're just tuning in, I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We are back from our cruise. We had a great time. I have not had caffeine in 4 or 5 days. I've gone without coffee for 4 or 5 days. And I just took my first couple of sips of coffee in 4 or 5 days right before I went on the air. And I've usually already had my 4 shots of espresso before the show starts. So I am under-caffeinated like I don't know if I've ever been on the air before, at least not in years. So I got to catch up on my caffeine. And if I sound a bit hoarse, well, hey, listen, we're partying like it's 1999 on the high seas, so you got to bear with me. I really could use another day off to recover from my vacation. And it's pretty much that way every year. And I'd imagine you guys have it too. But I'm here, and we'll take your calls on this at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Now, again, I am going to have this day as open phones light because we were off all last week. If there's anything that came up within the last week since we were gone on our cruise that you would like to bring up and discuss, please do. That's why I call it open phones light. It's not any and everything on your mind. It's anything over the last week while we were gone up until now, on top of what we bring up today, that you think might be worthy of discussion. The number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. All right, we'll take our first break of the first day back from our cruise. And if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be right back. Okay. So next week, I am going to start the fourth hour. Now, the fourth hour will only be on days when I'm in this studio. I can't do the fourth hour when I'm at the radio station. So I can only do the fourth hour when I'm here. But I'm going to start that next week. And, of course, it is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow with our promo code Kane at checkout. So, guys, make sure you support Mike Lindell because he supported me to do the fourth hour. And when you make a purchase with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, you're letting Mike Lindell know that supporting this program is well worth it. That's why we're adding the fourth hour. And you use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. There's huge deals going on, including free shipping on all orders over $75. I mean, look at this. Just great deals. The MyPillow towel set, just $39.98. I mean, these are just incredible deals. The premium MyPillow, these are the Giza Elegance pillows with the Giza cotton cover. They're just perfect. Just $19.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. The My Slippers are absolutely amazing, just $59.98. Look at all the different styles and colors for both men and women with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. But you can use our promo code Kane on all the specials at MyPillow.com, no matter what it says. Okay, we'll be back in just over a minute. You're going through some slight coffee withdrawals, but that's okay. I'll get through it. I mean, look at these cool MyPillows. Mount Rushmore, the American flag, We the People. That's a good one. The kitchen bundle. All these deals are with our promo code Kane at checkout. The body pillow, just $29.88. That's an incredible price. All with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. All right, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, back from our week off on our cruise. And, well, let's just take some of these calls before I bring up anything new. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Hey, you know, the global elites and countries that have been milking our tax money are totally livered. But the biggest people suffering is our government officials that have been money laundering money back to their pockets, and they're the ones that are screaming the most right here in America.
That's right. You know, that's right. I mean,
and
yeah.
You know what? He's doing a complete global financial reset, and America's going to be rich and wealthy again. And
yeah.
You know, everything he's doing the correct way. America first. And how can anyone stand against that? It just shows you their disdain for our country.
Well, you know, this is the reality. We know how President Trump made his money, selling rooms and golf memberships and TV shows. These politicians made their money selling America out. Everybody knows it. And that's why these trade imbalances aren't an accident. The sellouts in our government, they did it on purpose.
And now it's out in the open, and America has made a mandate. Trump won decisively, convincingly on Trump's agenda, and that's America first. And how can you stand against that? It just blows my mind that more people aren't waking up to the reality that Trump is for us, we the people. Wow. And this...
That's one of the...
I believe
Jeff,
by the end of the first year that we're going to be pumping our own oil again, and everything will change once that happens.
Jeff, that's one of the reasons they hate him, is because he puts the American people first. No, that's it. I mean, why should we be paying 80% import taxes and they pay like 2%? Any country.
And I think a lot of people didn't realize how imbalanced that trade war was, and now it's over. And Trump didn't even do the same amount they're doing. He went halfway because he knows they're going to lower theirs because of what he did. What he did was brilliant.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, Jeff, it's good to hear from you.
Hey, Brian, I hope you had a great, relaxing time on your vacation. You deserved it, brother. Welcome back.
All right, take care. All right, Jeff from Maine. Always good to hear Jeff from Maine. Yeah, we did have some in our MAGA group, had some run-ins with some never-Trumpers on the high seas. I'll maybe talk about some of that over the course of the morning, because I wasn't the only one in MAGA gear all the time in our group, and those triggered liberals... hey, they just can't control themselves. All right, let's go. Let's see who's next. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Louise, the masked lady in Boca.
Hey, Louise.
I'm a little curious about something. I don't know if it's even true. Now, I heard that Israel reduced, our tariff. They are charging us 0. Mm-hmm. And then I heard we're charging them 17%. And that doesn't sound right to me. Is that correct?
If that is correct, I'm sure that President Trump will correct that.
That's what I felt. I couldn't believe he would do that.
There's been no president who's a stronger supporter of Israel than Donald Trump. And he's meeting with Netanyahu today. So if that is true, he'll correct it.
Well, that's the way I thought. But, I didn't know if that would be corrected. I hope so.
Well, I don't know that that's true. I don't know if that's true.
Well, that is what I kept hearing on the news.
The thing is, with the tariffs, the tariffs aren't just, 5% from Finland. They have different tariffs for different goods. Some goods might be 0%, 5%, some may be 50%. There's different tariffs for different goods, but Trump has put I'm going to play a clip in a few minutes. Trump has an across-the-board tariff on every country, no matter what, and there's a reason why, which we'll get into in just after the bottom of the hour break. Which may account for what you're talking about.
Okay, if you hear anything more of the Israel,
well, I think I might know what it is, but I'll get into it after the bottom of the hour break, because there's a soundbite I want to play that explains that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, have a good day. Welcome back.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's good to be back. Oh man, is it? When I got back yesterday, I couldn't believe I was gone a week, and we had a great MAGA group. We went to the Dominican Republic. We went to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we went to St. Martin, which is Dutch, which is a Dutch island, and we had a great time, great MAGA group, and everyone that was on the cruise that I didn't get to see when I left yesterday, we had a great time, and I'm glad you all came. And our next cruise is a year from now. And if you have not been on one of our cruises, this is one that you don't want to miss. This is the lowest price we've had on a cruise in years. In fact, our 2026 cruise, which you need to make reservations for now because it's a year, even though it's a year away, we have the 2019 prices. So what the cruises cost in 2019 are what you'll be paying for 2026. Okay, so call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. I pulled up the soundbite. Okay, I didn't think I'd be able to find it so quick. Okay, so listen to this. This explains everything, and it's so people got to understand. Those around President Trump are top business people, millionaires and billionaires, who are the leaders of industry and understand business, international business, and economics in ways that you and I will never understand. Okay? And this is a great one from this was Lutnick, and he was on with the wife of that Syrian guy on Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan. And Margaret Brennan got her clock cleaned by Lutnick yesterday. Listen to this.
$1 billion. So it's not the tariffs. It has nothing to do with tariffs. If they went to 0-0, they would go to $200 billion with us. We need to stop the ripoff, and 0-0 is the way
I
to
know,
make
but we
a
don't
more
have 0-0,
of a
sir.
ripoff.
We don't have 0-0, actually, because when we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are...
Now, I've never heard of the Heard and McDonald Islands before this yesterday. Had any of you? But, but Margaret Brennan, she thought she got him. She thought she had Lutnick on something that was going to embarrass him and the president. And Lutnick embarrassed Margaret Brennan on her own show. I love it.
It wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
Now his answer is, which I'll play in a moment, is so brilliant because it's 100% truthful. It makes 100% sense. And it's something that you and I would never even consider because who had heard of these islands before? But Margaret Brennan sat around with her overpaid staff at CBS's Face the Nation and thought they got him. So I'll rewind it and then I'll play it uninterrupted.
Actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the herd and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
No. The idea is
Why
that there
are they
no
on the
countries
list?
left off. Because the idea, what happens is, if you leave anything off the list, the countries that try to basically arbitrage America go through those countries to us. Any country, like we had tariffs, the president put tariffs on China.
Okay, did you hear that? So they put tariffs on every country because if they left off, what was this? The what in McDonald Islands? Whatever, where I don't even know if people live there. If they left off these islands that I've never heard of before, all of a sudden the whole world would be importing into the United States through there. So they have to have tariffs across the board everywhere so there are not loopholes. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? I mean, the thing about this is Margaret Brennan and her staff of overeducated Columbia School of Journalism grads, London School of Economic graduates, Harvard and Yale's and all these Princetonites and all this stuff, that never occurred to any of them. Somebody found this thing about these islands. They thought they had them. Because in college, all you learn is how to be a liberal activist. You get brainwashed. That's it. You don't get an education. You don't learn to think critically anymore. And I think Margaret Brennan is so far gone in her liberalism that she doesn't even know it. And what I mean by know it, she doesn't know that she was humiliated on her own program. That's what I think. Because her reaction after didn't seem like somebody who felt stupid.
Right, in 2018, and then what China started doing is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries through America. And so the president knows that, he's tired of it, and he's going to fix that. So basically he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes, these ridiculous loopholes. And now what he's trying to say is, I'm going to fix the trade deficit of the United States of America. It's a national...
No, maybe I was wrong. It sounds like at the end, she started to realize. Do you think she took responsibility, or do you think she yelled at her staff after the show?
Can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes, these ridiculous loopholes. And now what he's trying to say is, I'm going to fix the trade deficit of the United States of America.
Got it. See?
It's a national security issue. We need to make medicine. We need to make semiconductors. We need to make ships. We need to have steel and aluminum. Come on. We need the greatness of America to actually be built in America. And he's tired of getting ripped off by the rest of the world.
Okay, but. Oh, man. All right, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We're back live. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere. What an idiot she is. What a complete idiot. Now, those of you that are watching on the green screen video, to hear the audio, you can hear me and the callers fine, but to hear the audio and see the video, you have to watch on the other stream. Yeah, I think she was feeling stupid at the end, and she's probably saying, "Well, this is so obvious." Well, it wasn't obvious to any of her staff. These things aren't obvious. Just Trump is surrounded by brilliant economists. It's simple to them because they know what they're doing. Okay. I'll be right back. I got to add some coffee to my cup. Yeah, if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. You don't have to be a troll. All those things you're saying to me or about me in the chat, you can call me on the air with. And since I'm in vacation recovery, you'll have a better chance of making a fool out of me. I'm under-caffeinated and exhausted. So I'm not in my normal state. It's not that we hate Europe, we just don't care about Europe. All right, we'll be back in 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We are back live after our week cruise. Welcome back. And we're talking about the media attempting to crash the stock market and trying to convince you that there's an economic collapse coming today. The thing is, the left have been griping for the last couple of months, down with the millionaires, down with the billionaires. We're for the common man. About 80% of stocks are owned by the wealthy in this country. Millionaires, billionaires, and high six-figure income earners. So if they want to stick it to the millionaires and billionaires, shouldn't these people in front of these Tesla dealerships be celebrating a drop in the stock market? Since 50% of the stocks are owned by the top 1%, which are the millionaires and the billionaires. Little inconsistency. They're consistent with one thing. They hate Trump. That's it. Now, as I said earlier, I got a lot to bring up, but every time I'm off for our cruise, the first day back, it's always a Monday, and I make it open phones light, meaning you can call in about any and everything on your mind that's happened over the last week. It's not full open phones, just things that have happened over the last week that we weren't on the air for because we were off, all right? 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
I just want to say welcome back, and
thank you.
Nice to see you today. Nice to hearing you today.
Thank you.
I like listening to your conversations with people. It's been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
For everything.
Yep.
I just want to ask you something. I've been watching you on YouTube, and it seems like I've been blocked. I normally don't even I don't even type anything, and just...
you have not been blocked by me, so far as I know. You've not been blocked by me.
Well, yeah, I know. I was wondering if you can tell your people to unblock me. That would be awesome.
I don't have people.
Oh, no, the one on chat.
I'll tell you what. You send me a DM on X. Okay, with your YouTube screen name, and I will look. And if you are blocked, I will unblock
awesome.
you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
No, will do. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Welcome home.
Hey, Richie.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. You made videos. Are you going to put them on YouTube, or are you going to have?
Yeah, I'm going to have one. I'm going to have one long video of the whole cruise. It'll probably take me about a week to get it up because we had a lot of good times. We had a lot of good times.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I know what they're like.
I took my GoPro and we went snorkeling in the Dominican Republic, and I took my GoPro and got some great underwater footage of our group. We had a great time.
I'm going to bring this right down to the people, and I'm bringing it even to you. You wear Vans.
Yes.
Nike is the biggest shoe company in the United States. They're an American corporation, folks. They lost $28 billion in one day. The average price to make a Nike sneaker, is $16. That includes shipping and tariffs that we charge when they ship that sneaker back into the United States. The average price of a Nike is over $100.
You know, and Rich, don't lose your thought. I can't remember which shoe manufacturer this is. It's one of the big ones, and you might know. I can't remember which one it is. I've not had coffee in 5 days, and so I'm on some coffee withdrawal. Okay, so I'm a little weirded out today. One of the major shoe manufacturers, I don't know if it's Nike, I cannot remember, they use a certain cloth in the padding of the sole, which gives them the legal definition for import purposes, not as a shoe, but as a slipper. And as a slipper, there's a much lower import fee than for a shoe. And it's one of the major shoe manufacturers. Yeah, I know. All these big shoe companies are screwing over the American people with these tariffs like nobody's business.
Big time.
So
that's one of the said. I'd like to ask anyone who's against this Trump deal, who actually works in the United States putting a Nike sneaker together? I mean, they have warehouses that warehouse all crap that comes in here from Indonesia, Vietnam, and all that other. But who is employed by Nike that manufactures a sneaker?
Yeah.
Is there a warehouse in the United States?
Not that I know of.
Nike has that manufactures a sneaker.
Not that I know of.
That's where the jobs come. That's where the jobs come in. The Democrats for 4 years under Biden told you how the jobs are creating jobs, all government jobs. I worked for the government. I didn't produce a damn thing. I gave a service.
It's an interesting question you ask about making Nikes in America.
Vans too.
Yeah. Where are the Vans made? I guess I can look in the shoes I'm wearing.
The Vans are made in Indonesia, China, and Vietnam. I looked all this up before I called you.
I wish they were still. You used to be back in the day of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because that's what made Vans famous. I've been wearing Vans since Spicoli. Okay, back in those days, they actually handmade them in the Vans store. So if you watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the Vans that Sean Penn are wearing, he had made himself in the store. He walked into the store in California and they just made him. He picked out the fabric. But Michael Moore, in one of his movies, when Bush was president, he had a whole bunch of movies come out. And in one, I don't remember which one, of his movies it was, but Michael Moore interviewed the head of Nike at the time and asked him this question. Why aren't Nikes made in America? And he says Americans don't want to manufacture Nikes for a price that makes them affordable. True. Yeah, I agree.
No, that's not true.
That's what he said, though.
If Brian and Craig decided to manufacture sneakers in the United States today, okay, and put American workers to work. Guess what? If he tried to put those sneakers in Vietnam before Trump did what he did, or China, they wouldn't even let him come in with the sneakers.
That's
They'd
right.
be blocked. We can't. They are screwing us, and Trump is the first one that's actually seen it. And what he talked about this when Japan started this crap after World War II. We wanted to put Japan on its feet. I remember as a kid growing up, you had Magnavox Zeniths. All the TVs were made in this country. People had money in their pocket. They went on vacation. There's none of that now. There's empty. Pittsburgh was the steel manufacturer of the country.
That's right.
We have gotten taken to the cleaners with these foreign little dinky countries making this crap for virtually nothing, but bringing it back in and
what people don't, what people have lost touch with, since we don't make anything in this country anymore, literally, we don't. Just liberal indoctrination centers, producing green hair and blue hair lunatic liberal. The reason that the United States won World War II mainly was our manufacturing strength. We had industry in this country and made everything. And the other countries, Japan, Germany, they were small countries, couldn't keep up with it. So no matter what, we were going to win because of our manufacturing might. Now we have no manufacturing.
How old? Yeah, Brian. How old were you in the early 70s? I don't want to go.
I was born in 71.
Okay, guess what? The first Toyota I saw in this country was about 1970. And the first Honda was made in this country looked like a shoebox with two doors.
That's right.
I couldn't fit in the damn thing. So the bottom line is all these companies.
Think about this: if you couldn't fit in it in 1970, could you imagine trying to get in it today?
Yeah, but Detroit made all of our cars here. The only foreign car you ever saw in the early 70s was a Volkswagen Bug. Everything else was American. It was our pride.
Yep.
Detroit looks like it's an empty slum hole now. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on now. They have destroyed this country. President Trump, and by the way, our vice president's doing the same thing. The Midwest is hollowed out, boarded up stores and towns. The textile factory in New York, they used to have the garment district, and they made everything in North Carolina. North Carolina lost all of that. Yeah, I mean, where's it made? And the prices are sky high, except for Mike Lindell.
That's right.
I mean, so the bottom line is that we're not saving any money by having all this crap made everywhere else. You know who's making the money? The people that own the corporate stocks.
Yeah.
They're the ones
and the reason the markets are, first off, the market should not be going down because they've known this was coming for a year. And in the last couple of months, they knew it was coming. They thought they would be able to intimidate Trump off of it. And now what they're trying to do is try to intimidate him to reverse it. Like somebody yesterday says, oh, can you give us another 30 days? How many 30 days extensions do they need? They'll still be griping in 30 days. It's here now. Deal with it.
They're aggravated because their sneakers that are coming into the United States are sky high in price, and now they're going to be even higher. They're going to be taxed 35% or whatever the hell it is, so nobody's going to buy their damn sneakers that they should be making in the United States. That's
right.
The bottom line. And I don't care about profits or anybody else.
That's right. All right, Richie. All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there, all right? We'll take our last break of the first hour. We are back live from our vacation. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Yeah, I was talking before this stream. So somebody had asked me how much weight I gained on the cruise, and I am probably the first person you've ever known that's lost weight on a cruise. When I walked off the ship yesterday, my pants were falling off my body. I had my luggage I'm wheeling to my car. I had to stop like 3 times just to pull my pants up. And I was wearing a belt. I couldn't believe it. I know, it's amazing. The pants I'm wearing now are falling off. Yeah, I wear Vans. These are, let me see, does it say where they're made? They are made in Vietnam. Yeah, it says made in Vietnam. Yeah. There you go, Vietnam. I wonder where the ones were made that I was buying when I was in the 80s, late 80s and 90s. When did they leave America? Vietnamese Vans, that's right. And these aren't cheap. These are $65 a pair. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I took my Vans off during the break and took a look. They're made in Vietnam, my Vans. I'm wearing the checkerboard Vans today. Vietnam Vans. You know, that's just a shame. And I'll say, I mean, all those men, and there's some women up there too, on that Vietnam Wall in Washington, and we're making Vans there now. You know, don't let anyone guilt you into thinking there's something wrong with you because you own products made in other countries, right? How could you live if you didn't have products from other countries in today's economy, right? Trump's changing that. He's bringing the manufacturing back. The Vans come back from Vietnam, no tariffs. All right, let's go back to our phones. Our first day back, calls have started off pretty good. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Patty from New Jersey.
Hey, Patty.
Hey, so the one thing I wanted to talk about, number one, I did a quick look up while I was on hold. In 1980s, Vans shoes were primarily manufactured in California.
That's right.
In Orange County. And they moved to China and Vietnam in the late 1990s. So, you know, these politicians have offshored our lives and, you know, not only our jobs, but also the quality of the stuff. We used to be, you know, when I was growing up, my parents had one set of furniture, our dining room furniture, our living room furniture, our refrigerators, everything lasted an entire life, my entire life.
Yeah.
All right. And now you get this stuff, it lasts you for a year or two, and you got to throw it away. So all these people who are out yamming about, you know, oh, the earth, are, you know, we're overfilling our landfills with all of this garbage that's being imported from these other countries that they're making cheaper. So you know what? Me personally, I would rather pay a little more for an American-made product that's going to last me a lifetime. And, you know, it's just we've become a throwaway country. You know,
I'll tell you, you know, right now in my living room, I have my old TV. I had to buy a new TV right before I left on the cruise, and I got the old TV in the living room. That TV's not that old. TVs used to last 10 years or whatever. You know, and I can't just throw it away because it has all our passwords for the apps in it. So I have to take it apart and well, every TV does. Don't throw out your TV. You got to open it up, which is not easy, and take out the computer hard drive and keep it, and you throw out the
You know, I
TV.
never thought about that. That's amazing.
All your
You know,
all your
but you're right,
passwords are in your
because
TVs. Yes.
Because, yeah, these people are, you know, the people who are into scrapping, they take that stuff apart because there's gold in there.
Yeah, and then they
you
got
know?
but there's more gold in your passwords.
Right. Yep. Yep. But you know, so people need to start thinking about that, and you know, that, you know what, when we were a manufacturing superpower, our products were great. They were, you know, anything that was made in America, you knew was made with quality, you know, workmanship and materials. So, you know, while everybody's crying about this, everybody is going to see in years to come that we are going to wind up much better off.
Well,
and,
look, you're so right. Like, I was talking a couple months ago, I had to buy a new dryer, and, you know, I had the front loader washer and dryer. I don't know if I've had 3 sets of those. They last like 2 years.
Yep.
Then you got to buy a new one.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mother, I go to my mom's house. She has like the mixer, like the cake mixer. It's the one she had when I was a little kid in the 70s. She still got. You know,
Yep.
and it works better than the one.
I have a meat slicer that was made way back then, and the thing still works. And
Or
I've
the-
tried
or
3 or
those
4 new ones since. They don't work.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean,
know?
my goodness.
And if you think about it, Brian, you know, you used to be able to buy a washer and dryer for, you know, $500-800 a pair. All right. And now my daughter just got a new washing machine. She hates it. She paid like $1,300 for this washing machine. It doesn't wash the clothes.
Yeah.
You know, so they replaced all of our stuff with cheaper stuff, but now
And it breaks.
it's expensive and it breaks.
Yeah.
And then you got to replace it.
That's right.
It's just crazy, but
Yeah.
you know,
and the front,
so
and they got this other racket with the washer and dryers where you don't just have to buy the washer and dryer, they make you buy the base, which is another couple $100.
Yep.
What a racket. What a scam
Yep.
that is.
Yep, it's just, you know, they figured out how to rob us, and in so many different ways. And you know, President Trump is playing on a level that there is nobody else in this world not even Xi Jinping can play on the level that Trump is playing on.
Well, you know, President Trump and everyone around him, like Ludnick, right? And look what Ludnick did. You know, he by the grace of God, he survived 9/11, right? Remember all the people got killed at his office because he took his kid to
in his office.
And he took care of the families with his own money.
Yes, he
did. These are brilliant economists. Not some economist that has some PhD in economics from some university and then becomes a professor. They are real working, real world economists that understand money in ways that you and I will never comprehend.
Yep, exactly. And you know, they're doing a fantastic job, every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and all these protests that are going on, I'm going to tell you what, where were all those big crowds back when Kamala was campaigning? All right, they've taken whatever money they've stolen and they put it into, you know, importing all of these people. You've got people from New Jersey being bussed down to Washington. You've got people from Connecticut being bussed down to Florida to attend these protests.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. And you know what? I watched many people interviewing these people because I couldn't get to any of them. But, you know, a lot of them had cheat sheets that when they were questioned on what's fascism, none of them knew what it was. They had to pull a paper out of their pocket and read off of it. You know, it's so fake. It's so fake. And, you know, so MAGA needs to keep their foot on the pedal. We need to keep moving forward and following what Trump is doing because he's going to lead this country back into the greatest country on earth.
All right. Well, listen, I got to run, but thanks for the call. Good to talk to you.
All right. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yes. And it's good to be back. I want to talk about Dr. Appleton. One of our listeners that was on the cruise, Gary, he told me something right at the beginning of the cruise. It was either Sunday or Monday. last week because we left on Sunday. We left on Sunday, got back yesterday on Sunday. And he had arthritis in his neck. Notice I said had. It's gone. He has no arthritis anymore because of Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Isn't that amazing? It really is amazing. Can you imagine arthritis in the neck? What a pain in the neck that would be, huh? It's gone. Blew my mind. And it makes me feel good that I met Dr. Appleton, and he's been with us here on the program for so long because he's helped so many of you in this audience rid yourself of pain, and you get your life back. Pain's just awful. It really is. It's really a disability. I could not imagine functioning with arthritis in my neck. You know, like I wear, on the air, I wear headphones. So I'm wearing headphones hours a day. If I had arthritis in my neck, oh my goodness. But your neck holds up your head all the time. So it's always got weight on it, and his arthritis is gone. Give Dr. Appleton a call, all right, and say bye-bye to your pain, just like Gary has done, and I've done too, many, many times. Appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. His number is 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name?
Hi. My name's Nick.
Oh, here we go,
from
Mike.
Illinois.
First one of the week. Yes, Nick.
Hi. Yeah, I was just calling in. I was watching the show.
Yeah, can you speak up?
Yeah, for sure. I was wondering how you feel about the recent drop-off in the stock market. If you feel like Trump is doing that intentionally, or just what are your thoughts on it?
Well, why would a president of the United States who's worth billions of dollars and the majority of his cabinet and staff are millionaires and billionaires who own millions of dollars in stocks, why would an administration like that purposely drive down the stock market?
Well, for one, their motives don't align with ours, right?
No. What is their motive as opposed to ours, since you're speaking for all of us?
Ours as in not the ultra wealthy, like top 99.9%.
Well, give me an example of, I've only have 10 seconds till the break. Give me an example of their motivation specifically that doesn't align with ours.
They want high housing costs.
They want high housing costs? No, oh my God. All right, appreciate the call. We'll be back after the top of the hour break. Wish I'd have taken him after the top. They want high housing costs. It's like talking to those people in line at the protest. Oh my goodness. Maybe he'll call back. I should have put him on hold. I don't like to hold callers over. You know, they don't understand. They just don't understand. These millionaires and billionaires around Trump in his cabinet and on his staff and him are sacrificing millions of dollars just to save America. I don't know why somebody like that would care about housing costs when mommy and daddy are paying the rent anyway. Just talking with Steve. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly. Welcome. Yeah, it is good to be back. Thank you. Thank you. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, I didn't have any coffee in the house this morning. That's why I'm under-caffeinated. That will be corrected tomorrow. We'll be back in about a minute. Well, I haven't talked to William Youngerman since last week, so I don't know what gold and silver is at. Does anyone know what gold and silver is at right now? We'll be back in about 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, our first day back from our cruise. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're talking about everything. Well, we're talking about the media and the Democrats trying to cause a Great Depression with the stock market, trying to convince the American people that they're going to lose everything they own with the Dow Jones going down a little bit today, and how ridiculous that is. But because we were off all last week, I'm also calling this Open Phones Light Day. Open Phones is usually on Fridays, of course, and it will be here on Friday. But the reason I say Open Phones Light is you're not free to call in about any and everything on your mind, but if anything happened last week while we were not here, you're welcome to call in about that too, because a lot did happen last week. All right, our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug. Welcome back.
Hey.
Anyway.
Hey, Doug. What's up?
I miss you guys.
Thank
you. President Trump has been forever saying we have to buy American. So my Infiniti QX80 had a lot of miles. My wife wanted a new car. So we went around. I said, we should buy American. Why are we buying Japanese? These things... So let's buy American, and that's what we did. We went and bought a new brand of Buick Enclave Avenir, and I think it's 10 times better than anything, especially that it's American. So you do what President Trump wants. It helps the economy. All these people are selling off their stock because the stock market was so damn high for a while. So they made, and then you have all these protest people trying to make it get the ball rolling, to keep everybody panicking on this and sell their stock off.
That's right.
Instead, everybody should be holding on because it's all going to come racing back. It's just a matter of weeks, like the days maybe even, before it comes back. So don't sell. Hold on. Everything's going to be fine. And President Trump is doing the most incredible job. I'm so glad we got him there. Can you imagine if we had Kamala Harris? What the hell would happen to this country? Man, people just don't seem to understand.
Well, think if Kamala Harris had won, or anyone else other than Trump, even if Nikki Haley would have won, right? Think about how many rapists and murderers from Venezuela would just be running amok in the United States.
Yeah, and all these protesters, all they say is, stop those. Why? When you ask them why, nobody has an answer. They all just say, well, we don't like Elon Musk. Why don't you like Elon Musk? I mean, they have the brainless people. And I said this before. I don't mind this. You have these people who have very, very low IQ that follow whatever they're told. And then you have the politicians that have to do what they have to do because they're politicians. What really bothers me most is you have these intellectual people, supposedly, and they get up there in front of Congress and try to give their intellectual reason why this is bad. And those people are really evil. They have to be doing that on purpose because they know it.
Oops, I lost you there, Doug. Hold on. Wait, are you there, Doug? Oh, no, I got my lines crossed. Oh, well, Doug, I put you back on hold by mistake. My first day back, under-caffeinated, a little rusty, and I don't know what line you're on. I've got so many calls on hold, but I may end up taking Doug again. Hold on, maybe this is Doug. All right, Doug? Nope, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this isn't Doug.
Okay, well, it's you then. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Same guy from earlier.
Oh, okay, this is the guy that's where... I'm glad you called back, because I wanted to talk to you longer, but you got to speak up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. What's
I
on?
was saying how billionaires have different motives than everyone else, right?
No.
And what? Sorry.
I don't agree with that, but go ahead.
You don't think so? Okay.
Mm-mm.
So, but just from like a general economic perspective, billionaires, they have their assets in a bunch of different things, whereas generally the typical consumer is more focused on short and medium term goals. The ultra wealthy have a longer term goal, so a recession to most people is a threat, where they have to worry about rent, they have to worry about food, they have to worry about everything, whereas the ultra wealthy, it's a buying opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, you sound like you sound pretty well informed. You sound like a college guy. You went to college.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think that I knew that you went to college?
Because I'm informed.
No.
I see what you're getting at. You're going to say I don't really understand.
No. This is how I know you went to college. I went to college too. And what you said about the economy right there, it reminded me almost word for word of what some lunatic college professor I had said. What you just shared is right out of a textbook.
Wait. Which part? Which part of it was crazy? The part where I said that billionaires have different motives than everyone else?
Well,
about how it's a threat?
People...
A recession is a threat to us,
people...
whereas it's not a threat. It's a buying opportunity to the ultra-wealthy.
No. People...
That's some crazy college shit.
People... Okay, all right. First one of the week, Mike. I had to hit the dump button. Oh, boy. He's sounding so intelligent, using all these college... economics 1101 and 1102 verbiage, and then all of a sudden he uses that. No, this is the reality for most people. Most people's motivation, regardless of economics, is the same. Most everyone is very, very selfish. Okay, and they're concerned for themselves and their family, and they really don't care about other people. President Trump and the people around him not only do not profit from anything that they're doing, it's quite the opposite. They're losing money. President Trump has lost hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of dollars in the last 10 years by being president, running for president, and then becoming president again. And a lot of other ones like Lutnick, they're losing out on business deals every day, multi-million-dollar things. The people around Trump not only are leading economists, unlike the professors that I and college boy there had in school, but they're putting it all on the line and doing something that most of us don't do. They're completely selfless in what they're doing. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Pompano.
Hey, Ben. All right.
Hey, good. So, yeah, I just listened to that last caller, and, man, there's like this smug pretentiousness about, the way he was going about it. First off, when it comes to billionaires, let's just get something out. Okay, so like I guess he was insinuating that Trump and Elon and all the billionaires associated with MAGA are trying to tank the economy because it helps them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can make the same argument with Joe Biden and inflation, because actually when inflation is higher, it's like better for their debt. But the Democrats have far and away more billionaires and more invested into the Democratic Party. And they invest far more money when it comes to midterms or in the Wisconsin Supreme Court cycle or, Kamala Harris's campaign. So if he really wants to talk about billionaires' influence in politics, you think all their attention would be turned towards their own party. But it's not, okay?
Yeah.
All of a sudden Elon Musk jumps on, and now, we're the party of billionaires. When you look at Mark Benioff, when you look at Reid Hoffman, you look at J.D. Pritzker, you look at Mark Soros, 80% of billionaires donate to the Democratic Party. So I really don't want to hear about billionaire influence.
And the thing about that caller, when I asked him, you go to college, how do I know? And because I sound intelligent. He thinks he sounds, and when you recite that college economics 1101 garbage, you sound stupid. You're a parrot.
He does because it's multifactorial. So yes, they are billionaires, but they're also enmeshed in a political role as well. Like he's looking at it through like one lens. Like Donald Trump is a billionaire. Yes, Elon Musk is a billionaire, but Donald Trump is also the president of the United States, who risked he has to achieve in that context as well. It's not just he's a billionaire and therefore all motivations are geared towards him keeping his money. A lot of these guys, Elon Musk has made, as far as billionaires go, I mean, Twitter was a bad investment. SpaceX almost went bankrupt 3 times. Most billionaires would not have gotten into that. Elon Musk you can't just cut him all with the same cloth, because he does do things differently than other people. And so you can't just say he's a billionaire, therefore motivations are X, because clearly his behavior has shown that he kind of bucks the trend with a lot of billionaires as well. But yeah. I totally disagree. Like there would be there's no way they're going to be able to spin, the stock market, which historically it was doing worse in 2021 and 2022. This bump right now that we're seeing over the last 5 years isn't the worst, especially since we just had record highs. So if you're down a few points from record highs, it can't be that bad. But they're panicking because the media, they find a negative story and they amplify it like absolute gangbusters in order to make Trump look bad. Just like these protests, they're not talking about how they're astroturfed and they're funded by Indivisible and all these other nonprofits. Yeah. They're treating them like BLM. So it's all lies. It's all propaganda, just to sideline the Trump agenda. And even they've admitted this, when Molly Ball came out with her article about saving democracy and the integrity of the 2020 election, how a cabal of shadow groups got behind to, push the BLM narrative. So this guy he actually shows me exactly what you expect from a college grad. He actually doesn't know how to think. He's just waiting for the program.
Well, a college grad who doesn't work, or at least doesn't work full time at a meaningful job, and is bitter that they're broke, right? That they went to college and they're broke.
And I went to college too. I'm a college grad too. But I grew. It took me years to unlearn like a lot of the things that they taught me, because it was such an echo chamber of left-wing thought.
See, I went to college as an adult while I was on the radio. So I knew they were full of
Yeah.
it. I just answered what I had to answer to pass the exams, but I couldn't get indoctrinated because I was already a grown up, right? Which
Yeah, I know. And so, I don't really want to hear it about, he was pretty much insinuating they're trying to tank the stock market
It's absurd.
for their own gain, which is,
How
they
is
are
it
the party of
how would it
billionaires.
be? How would it be? Listen, the top 1% own 50% of the stocks. Of the entire stock market, 80% of the stocks are owned by not just millionaires and billionaires, but the high six-figure earners. So why would they do something that would cost them millions and billions of dollars? There's no profit in that.
Right.
And another thing,
and
another thing, I thought the left in front of these Tesla dealers wanted to stick it to the millionaires and billionaires. What better way to stick it to them than to cause the stock market to go down?
No, and they don't care because during the pandemic, the largest transfer of wealth happened during the pandemic under Democrat policies, which locked everyone down, shut the economy down, and all the wealth went to huge corporations like Amazon, who was delivering everything, Lysol, who was giving everything, Big Pharma. These people constantly switch their narratives. They care about the environment, and unless it's Tesla, then they start firebombing their stations. They care about stopping billionaires, unless those billionaires are Sam Bankman-Fried donating to their party.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. They only care about power. They will twist the narrative on a dime in order to help themselves, even if it completely bucks and contradicts everything they've been saying. So they're full of it. This guy coming in insinuating that they're trying to tank the stock market, it's garbage. Trump has, like you said, lost so much money if he running for president. If it was about money, clearly this guy's put his life on the line multiple times. He knew after he got shot that, that was a real possibility. And if he cared only about money, he wouldn't have kept running,
Mm-hmm.
So it's silly to think it. It's a dumb, tired argument. And you know what? They're just mad that we finally have a billionaire who isn't evil that's fighting against their agenda. And look at where all the money from these agencies that he shut down is going to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're upset that he's finding all the leakage in the government that has been funding these groups. That's why they're so desperate, because they're actually getting their cut off from their main money stream.
Well,
which was the government
Elon Musk
and all
said
these
that
channels.
Elon Musk said there's going to be a major arrest with the Social Security fraud. And,
We'll see. I
and
got to be honest. I know we don't have enough time for it, but I think Pam Bondi has been a bit of a disappointment. But
she needs to
that's
put some.
another
Pam Bondi
conversation.
needs to do some high-profile arrests with perp walks.
I know.
She really does.
I think what she's doing is she's throwing us some red meat. Oh, look at these gang members we got, blah, 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 blah. But she's not doing what Garland has done. She's not I want to see Mayorkas and Garland and all these people and Michelle Walensky when she said the vaccine. All these people, I want to see them in handcuffs. And she hasn't really done anything.
look at this. These
It's all talk.
the criminal judges that went after Trump,
Yeah.
in the last 4 years. People are losing patience with Pam Bondi, no doubt. All right, listen, I got to run.
Trump really,
I got to run. Way late for the break. Take care. We'll be right back. And you guys watching on the green screen feed, I'm going to end this feed and start it over because we've got a bit of a bad connection. All right, as I'm looking here. So I'll have it back up in just a minute. All right, we'll see if this works out a little better. All right, stand by. All right, we are back. It's going to be a short segment because I went long in the last segment, but the calls have been pretty good. We've covered a lot. I think this is going to be Doug that I put on hold by accident. Okay, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa in Tennessee.
Hey, Lisa. What's up?
Hey, I just want to comment, and glad you're back safe and sound.
Thank you.
And, Scott Bessent, our U.S. Treasurer now, our Secretary of the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah, the openly gay Treasury Secretary.
I didn't even know that, but hey, the man is a smart man.
Mm-hmm.
And he explained how this is going to help bring back Main Street America. This is what people don't get. All of these tariffs and all of this is going to lead to Main Street America coming back. That's what's been getting crushed by everything going overseas, right, over the years.
Yep.
And these gentlemen are some of the most intelligent people in America, just like the Doge guys. I mean, that interview was phenomenal, right?
Oh, yeah.
How smart these people are. And they are heroes.
No doubt.
They are saving us from going bankrupt. People, they don't understand what it would mean for our country to be bankrupt. They're talking about the stock market right now. That's just a facade,
Yeah.
That means nothing.
No, you're right.
It means nothing.
Right.
And bringing our jobs back, and yeah, it's probably not going to look the same as it did in the 50s, with bringing jobs back. They're going to be different. Things are going to be different because we do have the AI. We have different stuff going on, but we're still going to bring back jobs. And even if it looks different, yeah, that's going to play out, right? But this is going to help Main Street America, brick and mortar again. It's going to help mom and pop. It's going to help entrepreneurs.
What Trump is doing is bringing back industry, bringing back manufacturing to the United States. I was talking
Correct.
to a caller in the last hour. One of the major reasons that we won the Second World War, because before the Second World War, we were not a world power, okay? We were after. These big military powers got defeated, like Japan, because we had a massive manufacturing base. We don't manufacture anything anymore.
Correct.
I mean, look at the crisis we had during the shutdowns just over toilet paper.
Correct.
When we don't make medicines in this country, so what if some country decides they're not going to send us a particular medicine that people need to live? How many? You know what I mean? We could be held hostage by so many different countries that are not friendly countries in the world because we don't make the basic necessities in this country anymore.
Yes, and it's he's not trying to stop us having goodies from around the world. That's not what it's about. Like you said, it's about manufacturing back here in the United States. I mean, when you think of Pfizer and all the pharmacy people, okay, so they're making bank because they're getting it right cheap from China. That's where we're getting most of our medicine, right, from China.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And can you really trust?
Ever allowed an
Can you really trust China to give us high quality medications?
No, we couldn't even trust them to make toys. They were putting lead paint in the toys for the kids for how many years before they caught it?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a cleanup job like no other cleanup job. It needs to be done. It needed to be done years ago, of course. But now it's like that wonderful guy from Doge, one of the guys organizing other guys. He said, we have to do this or we won't have a country.
That's right.
Elon said it. And this is what people don't get. And the stock market goes up and down. Don't worry about that. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's all about bringing the manufacturing back. It's going to help bring back everything that, the middle class was crushed with COVID. But that's what the globalists wanted.
Well,
we're going to make a comeback.
The British Prime Minister, who's a complete lunatic, made a good point. He says Trump has ended globalism. That's
correct.
That's
correct.
what this is the process of. And the globalists are not happy about it. There's no reason.
Oh gosh, no.
There's no reason for the Dow to go down today. This is being done on purpose. They knew that the things. They've known about this for months, really a year, but they've known it was going to be for real since President Trump won, and things get baked into the market. Like when there's an IPO, okay, and you and I go and buy it, we pay too much for it because the price is already baked into the market. The big investors are already in. Things like this are baked into the stock market. This is a manipulation by the globalists to try to stop Trump again, just like these judges.
Right. Oh gosh, yeah, they're ridiculous, But these all these millionaires that they're giving up a good life to help us because they could see where the country was going, where it was headed, and it wasn't good. And so all of them need to be made heroes. They are true American patriot heroes that are helping with Doge and all these different things. And we need to just remember, all bad decisions are based in fear. And the left thrives on fear.
That's right.
So do not fear, people.
All right.
Do not fear.
Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
All right. Now listen,
You're back.
All right. Good to be back. This is a short segment because I went really long in the first segment. I apologize. But if I take this break on time, we'll be smooth sailing till 9 o'clock. It's the Steve Kane Show. We are back from our cruise. My name's Brian Craig. Back right after this. right. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We'll be back in a few seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, back from our cruise. All right, let's take some more of these calls now. Today is Open Phones Light, okay? I brought up a lot of things. We're talking about the tariffs and the Dow Jones and all of that. But you're welcome to call in today about anything that happened over the last week while we were out, okay? It's not regular open phones, because Open Phone Friday, Open MAGA Mike Friday, will still be here Friday. And then you can call in about any and everything on your mind. But now you got to limit it to things that either we're talking about today or that happened last week, all right? 1-888-465-2631 is our number, 888-465-2631. We have passed the halfway mark of our first show back, and I am in a little bit of recovery from the cruise, if you know what I mean. And I could have used another day off to rest up from my vacation, but I'm here, and I am under-caffeinated. So today is I am at, I don't know, 70% of my normal abilities and powers on the air, but that seems to be okay for the liberals that we've heard from so far. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Hey, Mark.
You know, that's the one thing that people don't know about Trump, and he's talked about it, where if other countries are fair to America on tariffs, he'll return the same being fair with them. But like Canada, they have like a 100-200% tariff on our products. So
yeah,
Trump is going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me and my winter clothing, I go see two companies that the clothes are made in Vietnam. And I found out from my friends that Vietnam is willing to work with Trump when it comes to tariffs. So, you know, a lot of people just go with the fake news.
Well, yeah, and I learned this morning I'm wearing Vietnamese Vans. I had no idea they were made in Vietnam. I never really look at that. I just buy them. But yeah, these should be made in California. And you know what? They will be again.
And, you know, the smart countries that are willing to work with Trump will find out that if they have reasonable tariffs, Trump is going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, and it's good to see you back from your trip. And
well, it's good to be back.
I look forward to listening to you.
All right, take care. Yeah, it's very good to be back. Oh, you know, while we were gone, there were a couple of notable deaths. Val Kilmer, everyone's a fan. Everyone loves Val Kilmer, right? You know, and I know everybody talks about, when they talk about Val Kilmer, they always talk about Top Gun. But my favorite Val Kilmer movie is Real Genius. If you haven't seen Real Genius, you should. The villain in it is the reporter from Die Hard. But everyone loves Val Kilmer. And then yesterday I saw, this one really, this one was a shocker. Jay North died. And if you're younger than I am, you may not know who Jay North was, but he was Dennis the Menace on the TV show, Dennis the Menace. And when I was growing up, Dennis the Menace was already off of television for several years, but it was still hugely popular in syndication. Television syndication was still a thing in the 70s. And when I was growing up, Me and my friends, we all wanted to be Dennis the Menace. Didn't we? Oh, yeah. But so Jay North, Dennis the Menace, and Val Kilmer both died. But I think Val Kilmer's best movie is Real Genius. I love Real Genius. One thing I want to mention before we get back to this, and I got a lot of audio that I want to play from over the weekend and the weekend shows. President Trump is meeting with Netanyahu. And I watched, I can't remember the name of it. Okay. I watched last night before I went to bed, and it was a difficult watch because it was over an hour. Candace Owens, and she interviewed a guy by the name of Ian Carroll. And Ian Carroll is a liberal who's somewhat popular, pretty popular on X. And they did... someone said Batman in the chat room, said Batman is the best Val Kilmer movie. I'm not a big fan of the Batman. I like Real Genius. In fact, I own Real Genius, and that's a movie that I'll go back and watch again and again and again. I love that movie. Am I the only one that's seen Real Genius? I'm surprised more people haven't seen it. It's a comedy, and it's about a bunch of brilliant college kids that are rebels, led by Val Kilmer, and they're working on a government project, a laser. It's a pretty good movie, very funny. Tombstone. Val Kilmer was very good in Tombstone. He was, in fact, Tombstone, it's where Val Kilmer played Doc Holliday. That is probably, out of all of the Gunfight at the OK Corral movies, that's probably the best, I would say. Even the original Gunfight at OK Corral, it's probably even better than that one, which I saw recently, the original, not too long ago. The original one, though, it has the great song, OK Corral. Anyway, Candace Owens, she interviewed this liberal, Ian Carroll, and they spent the better part of an hour bashing Trump and Israel. And I listened to the whole thing because I wanted to, hear her. And they're under the impression, Candace Owens is under the impression that Donald Trump is not supporting an America First agenda because of our support of Israel. And support of Israel, I'm not going to go make the case for supporting Israel. I support Israel. We've talked about it for decades, and people know, okay? If somebody calls me up on it and questions me on it, I'll explain, but I'm not going to do that right now. But when you say support of Israel, it's really misleading. There's a lot of moral equivalency made between the U.S. support of Israel and the U.S. support of Ukraine. There's no commonalities. Ukraine, we've just given endless weapons and money to. Okay? Israel buys everything. Israel buys the weapons from us. We don't give them the weapons. The support that we give Israel is not monetarily like with Ukraine, where they become a client state. It's like verbal support, right? You might support the Miami Dolphins, right? You support Israel. It's not like that at all. And Candace Owens said that she doesn't see Trump doing much of anything for America, but for Israel all the time. And here's the thing. Candace Owens is obsessed with her anti-Semitism. She's obsessed with her hatred of Israel. So what happens when you're in the news business, you got to be very careful because you can get obsessed with stories. I've seen this happen. I've come close to doing it myself on different things. When you get wrapped up in an issue, okay, when you go to the news, your eyes gravitate towards that issue and you ignore everything else. So when Candace Owens goes through the news, all she sees is Israel because that's all she cares about, her hatred of it. And if you're on hold standby, this will be quick. And, you know, what I wonder about Candace Owens is how long has she been an anti-Semite? There's a lot of anti-Semitism in the African American community, loads of it. But what I've wondered with Candace Owens, does she hate Ben Shapiro so much that she's transferred her anger towards Ben Shapiro and channels it through Israel? You know, she's got all kinds of contracts and things that limit what she can say about Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and all of that, but she can say whatever she wants about Israel. So is she really a hardcore anti-Semite, or is she channeling her anger towards Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire towards Israel? That's the question. I don't really know, but it's really sad, and for her to sit around with this liberal. And this guy, Ian Carroll, I don't know too much about him. I've heard of him. I've seen him on social media. Apparently, he's huge on TikTok and everything. And he said that he has no backers and that he's poor. Well, if he's a guy that has all these followers and reaches millions of people every week, why is he poor? You know, and Candace Owens is, because he's a liberal idiot, that's why. And why is Candace Owens sitting around agreeing with a liberal about Trump? Yeah, because she's not MAGA anymore. She calls herself Original MAGA. Like, you know, as opposed to the new MAGA. Like, I guess that means the real MAGA. I don't know what, you know. But I know she hates Ben Shapiro, so who knows what the real reason is, but she certainly is an anti-Semite. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
This Daryl?
Yeah, Daryl, speak up.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Oh, sure.
You know what, Brian? I've been saying that ever since I heard President Trump refer to himself as a stable genius, that this guy is probably the smartest president we've ever had.
Yep.
You know, and like when I listened to Margaret Brennan yesterday, and I said to myself, she does not know who she's going up against. You know, because a country can use other countries as a pass through to avoid paying the
It's a loophole. It's a loophole. It's a
that's
loophole or a money laundering
what
operation.
China has been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And who would even think of that? I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, you know, and I got into it with some idiot on Facebook last night. You know, he was saying, well, you know, we're out there, you know, charging a country that has all they have there is penguins. I said, man, you really don't know what you're talking about. I said, look, they're just using that. They're using that country as a pass through.
Mm-hmm.
To avoid paying tariffs.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You know, and who else would think of that but Trump?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, he is so far ahead of these people. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I played that exchange with Margaret Brennan in the first hour. I'll play it again after the next break because it was so good. Yeah, she was made a fool of.
Yes, exactly.
On her own show.
Welcome back, man, and you have a good day.
All right, it's good to be back. All right, we'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back. All right, we're back. That was a quick break. Okay, I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We are back from our trip, and welcome back to you guys, too. It's good to be back. Now, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I may be the first person in history to do something this past week. I may be the first person to lose weight on a cruise. I know. I didn't weigh myself since I've been back, but I know this. Yesterday, when I left the ship, and I had my bags, and I'm heading out to my car in the parking garage, my pants were falling down like crazy, and I had a belt on. And, it's a walk. I did not check my bags in the night before, so I had to walk off the ship with all my suitcases. And I had 3 suitcases. I know that seems like a lot for one person, but I bring all my computers and stuff. That's 1 suitcase. All my clothes, that's a 2nd suitcase. And then I always bring, this is a very smart move, a 3rd suitcase that's empty that I put all my dirty clothes in. So when I pack, it's easier. And I just take it in the laundry room, throw it in the wash. So I had this long walk. I had to go through the ship, down the gangway. Then I go through customs, and then it's a walk down the sidewalk to the parking garage. I had to stop so many times to pull my pants up. I couldn't believe it. And luckily, I had an untucked button-up shirt. If not, my underwear would have been showing. I would have been like one of those hip-hop guys that walks around with the jeans beneath their butt showing the underwear. I don't know what that fashion style is all about. But that's how I was. And my pants I'm wearing now are also falling off. And my belt, I've put so many holes in it, it's like going almost around me again. And if you're watching me on YouTube, you'll see it in my face. I have lost so much weight. The shirt I'm wearing, this looks like it's my dad's shirt that I'm wearing. It is. It was not baggy when I got this. And this is not an old shirt. I've just lost so much weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And you can too. I'm going to give you their number. And you guys know, I do no exercise. And if you were with me on the cruise, you saw what I was eating. I was eating what you were eating. I was eating what was on the menu at dinner. I was eating desserts. Okay? And I'm not taking any medications, not taking Ozempic or anything, none of that. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Now, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel, all right? Their number is 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. All right? Again, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. All right, and Steve Kane will be joining us today. He was on the cruise, of course. And we had some good times on the cruise. I must tell you, we had some good times. Now, I want to pull up. I played this audio in the first hour, but I want to play it again. This is Lutnick with Margaret Brennan, who just got her clock cleaned by Lutnick on her own show. Let's see. Yes, here it is. Now, this was amazing because, she's complaining that there's a 10% tariff on this island nation that I've never heard of. And Margaret Brennan and her staff sat around. They thought they had Lutnick on the ropes, that they were going to make him look like a fool and make Trump look like a fool. She even had a one-liner prepared, this AI line, and he explained it to her, and you could tell at the end that she's like, oh, I look so stupid. She can't admit it, of course, but she was humiliated, Margaret Brennan, on her own show. Listen.
$1 billion. So it's not the tariffs. It has nothing to do with tariffs. If they went to 0-0, they would go to 200 billion with us. We need to stop the ripoff, and 0-0 is the way to
I know,
make
but we
a
don't
more
have
of a
0-0, sir.
ripoff. We
don't have 0-0, actually, because when we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
Okay, now that's the prepared line that's supposed. Did you use AI to prepare this list of tariffs? And then Lutnick explains it to her, and it seems so easy and simple, but it's not. Trump and his team are brilliant economists, and they know exactly what they're doing. All right, let me rewind it, and then I'll play the whole rest of it uninterrupted.
That you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
No. The idea is
why
that there
are they
no
on the
countries
list?
left off. Because the idea, what happens is, if you leave anything off the list, the countries that try to basically arbitrage America go through those countries to us. Any country, like we had tariffs, the president put tariffs on China, right, in 2018, and then what China started doing is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries through America. And so the president knows that, he's tired of it, and he's going to fix that. So basically he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes.
Do you hear? Okay, so that's my favorite part, when she realizes she looks like an idiot. So basically what he said was, no, you got to have tariffs everywhere, or the other countries will just start importing to America through those countries. So you got to have them across the board. And then you hear her mumble. She's like, oh.
That. So basically he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes.
See, through the Herdums, whatever she said, the Herdums.
These ridiculous loopholes. And now what he's trying to say is, I'm going to fix the trade deficit of the United States of America.
Got it. Yeah, she's got it all right.
It's a national security issue. We need to make medicine. We need to make semiconductors. Yes. We need to make ships. We need to have steel and aluminum. Come on. We need the greatness of America to actually be built in America. And he's tired of getting ripped off by the rest of the world.
Okay. That is so beautiful what happened there with her. Because her, we have a team of economic money geniuses on the Trump team. And what he said seems so simple and so obvious. Because it is simple, but it's not obvious unless you're a top economist like Trump and his team are. Nobody else would think about that. And Margaret Brennan sat around with her staff of college-educated Columbia school grads and all the other Ivy Leagues, and that did not occur to any of them. See, Trump and his team are, it's like the caller said, they're the smartest, the best, and the brightest we've ever had leading this country. They know exactly what they're doing on levels that you and I will not be able to comprehend. All right, 2 hours are down, 1 hour to go. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. After our top of the hour break, we'll take more calls. Steve Kane will be joining us. And my voice sounds a little tired, but that's what happens when you're partying like it's 1999 for a week on a cruise ship with great MAGA people. And it would be nice. Sometimes on our cruises we leave on Fridays or Saturdays and come back on a Friday or Saturday, so we got a day of recovery. But when we come back on Sunday, that's it. No day of recovery. All right, we'll take our break and be right back. All right. All right. Let's see. We're going to be... Hey, all right, I'm going to put you on hold, and then I'll pick you back up in just a minute, okay? Hold on. It should. It's all. Everything's set up fine. If there's any problems, it's on your end. Everything's working fine. All right, hold on. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna put you on hold and pick up the speaker. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Steve Kane reporting for duty.
Okay. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. We are back from our cruise. Hey, Steve.
Boy, I tell you, we leave town for a week and everything goes to hell in the handbasket.
Oh, I know. And I'm still recovering from the cruise. I really could use another day or two off to, recover from our vacation. But
I think the country could use another day off.
Nah, the country's going fine. Things are perfect.
Well, fill me in because I missed that chapter.
Well, what do you think's wrong?
I don't know. I was asking you.
Oh, no. Everything's great. Everything's great. Donald Trump's got everything under control. Nothing to worry about.
Well, I got a lot of faith in Donald. I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah, no. The media are trying to cause a stock market crash and tell us that the world's coming to an end and there's going to be a depression and everything else because the market's dropped a little bit. They were pushing for it yesterday with the futures, and there's an expected drop today when the market's open, but because of the tariffs. But hey, that's the way it is. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Let these countries rip us off forever?
No, I agree. Listen, I'm with Don. You know that.
Mm-hmm. All right, you want to take some calls or?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go here. Now we've been off the air for a week, so I might be a little rusty on the controls. So you got to bear with me. Plus, I am more under-caffeinated than I have been. Today was the first day I had any coffee in 5 days. So I'm going through withdrawals, and I had no coffee in my house when I woke up this morning. So I'm a cup and a half behind. So and rusty on the controls, but we'll do our best here. Okay, hold on, and here we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, is Steve there?
Yep.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, nice. Hey, it's IB, man. Nice to have the three of us on the phone. It's like a little birthday gift for me to have us together. Hey, Good morning, y'all. Sometimes Brian says you have to... No, I mean just having us on the phone. It's like having a birthday.
Oh, it's not your birthday. It's like a birthday. Okay.
Yeah. Having you guys back the next day. You say sometimes you have to bring out the big crayons for the Democrats or, the libs, because I love the way they always focus on something that is trivial in their lives. More important things is right at home in the front of your faces, right at your doorsteps, but you're worrying about, other countries and other things. But she asked a simple question. Why would they charge 10% on an island that only has penguins? Well, if there's nothing being exported from that island, okay, then there's nothing to worry about. Why do you guys work yourself up about something that means nothing in your life? Is my point to these liberals bringing out the big crayons. It makes no sense. Okay, look at Greenland, right? Why do we need Greenland? Why do we make a fuss about something way out of our lives? Why does that make any sense? Why do you involve yourselves to hatred, to hate your fellow man? Are you with America or are you not with America? If you're not with America, then go with the ones that you want to be.
Well, IB, what it is with, I'm not talking about these lunatics in the street. I'm talking about like the Margaret Brennan types, okay? They hate Trump like the plague. And Margaret Brennan, I mention this a lot because I think it's relevant. She looks like your stereotypical American white girl from, Kansas. She's married to a Syrian American, which means that her kids are Muslim, I'm sure, right? And she probably lives a very big Muslim lifestyle. So, so she's got conflicts of interest. But
big time.
She's like these radical students and professors at Columbia. She's just more well hidden. But, they hate Trump, not just Margaret Brennan, the media, they hate Trump. And when hatred has an effect on the mind, it's like intoxication. It clouds your judgment. You don't think clearly. And
they must all
so they have a block on logic with what Trump's doing here.
But at the same time, what I'm saying is that they're always fueling the hatred. They're fueling hatred, like having these people that have no brains, like they just have the Boca.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes,
is the answer. It's all an extension of that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And when the question gets answered, they don't want you to continue because they already tried to implement something in the minds of the people that are listening. But when the question is being answered, they don't let the answer go through. She interrupts, that's why she's like, but because they don't want the people to hear the truth. They just want to throw something out there and hope it sticks. And when the truth is being spoken, they want to be short with you, cut you off, and go to the next question.
Okay, next question, please.
It makes me irate.
All right, IB, good to talk to you. All right, you back with us, Steve?
Yes.
Did I tell you what happened with the bikini girl on the cruise?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, good, because I told everybody else in the group but you, and I didn't tell you on purpose because I wanted to tell you on the air. I was wearing my MAGA gear the whole cruise, and a MAGA shirt, MAGA hat, and everything. And I had multiple run-ins with Never Trumpers on the ship all week. And
really?
Some of them were really nasty. Oh, yeah.
How come none of them ever find me? I don't understand that.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. Like one guy, I always make YouTube videos, and I'll have a YouTube video up on my YouTube channel of the entire cruise at some time over the next week. I got a lot of footage, and it's many hours of editing, so I don't know when I'll get. I just got home, guys, so But I was going around filming a YouTube video with my camera, and I'm wearing my Make America Great Again hat, and I'm wearing my Trump Hawaiian shirt that has the fight when he stood up right after the Never Trumper shot him.
Right.
So I'm in my full MAGA wear, and I'm at the top. I'm aft at the top of the ship. There's a bar called the Sunset Bar. It's high up. It's aft, and I'm showing the great view. And this guy says to me at the bar, he says, "What do you got in your hand?" And I said, a camera. He says, "I thought it was a weapon." And he says it out loud. Now, yelling out weapon on a cruise ship is like yelling out weapon on a jet plane flight, right? I mean, it's it's a triggering word that could get you in trouble, okay? And so I couldn't let the guy just stand by. I said, no, it's a camera. He says, it looks like a weapon. And I said, it's a camera. He says, I thought it was a club and you were going to go around and knock people in the head that don't like Trump. And he was, he was probably drinking a little bit. And I said, why would I go around assaulting people? Right? And he says, don't worry, man. I'm a Trumper too. I said, yeah, a never Trumper. I just had all these run-ins like this with people. And our group, I know, isn't it lovely? And I'm in the elevator. I had a lot of confrontations in the elevators with these liberal, mostly women. And I'm in the elevator. It's right after this incident that just happened that I just described. Got the MAGA hat on, the fight, fight, fight shirt. And that shirt, if you guys have seen it, it's pretty flashy. I mean, it's a Hawaiian shirt. Because I've lost all this weight, it's a couple sizes too big, but I don't care. And Trump's in full color, covered in blood, fight, fight, fight. So I'm in the elevator, and this woman and her husband come in, and he's one of those soy boy, where she's the man, even though she's supposed to be the woman in the marriage. And she looks over and she says, interesting shirt. And I said, yeah, it's a very nice shirt. And she says, it's a shirt, you know what I mean? And then, that thing to, and I got a lot of stare. I know, I got a lot of stares of judgment. And then they'd walk by and I'd hear the Lord's name in vain, like there's something wrong with me. So
they really find you.
Well, it's hard to miss me when I'm wearing all this flashy Trump gear. And so one morning though, I was going for breakfast, and this girl who's like, I don't know, she's in her 20s. She's wearing a string bikini. So she's basically naked. And it's just her and I in the elevator, and she was so naked it was uncomfortable. I mean, you would have been very comfortable, Steve, but me, I was uncomfortable.
Thanks.
No. And then she looks over to talk to me, and I'm like, oh, here it goes. It's going to happen again. And I'm going to get insulted by the bikini girl. And she says, you know what I like about cruises? And I'm thinking, oh boy, we went down a couple of decks. She's been working up to this. I said, what? And she says, people that go on cruises, they can afford to go on cruises, so they understand how taxes work. She says, I'm a young entrepreneur, and I love Trump. He's cutting our taxes. He's doing this. He's doing that. So anyway, she's hardcore MAGA. And she's telling me in her string bikini how much she loves Trump. And
well, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I go to breakfast, and there's some of our listeners there, and I told them the story. And I said, when Trump has the 25-year-old bikini girls on his side, we're set. Because Republicans it's a good sign, because Republicans never have that demo, ever, 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 ever. And by the way, she's the kind of person that looks good in the string bikini. Okay, she, wasn't one of these people. And you look at the Democrat protest, and what do they got? A bunch of senior citizens, all right, that are going around griping about Elon Musk. Weirdos, freaks, geeks, and senior citizens. That they've opened up the retirement homes, the assisted living communities, and the mental hospitals. And they're sending them out to protest in front of Tesla dealers. But then someone in our group ran into two lesbians that were on the ship. Not in our group, but two lesbians. And I mean hardcore lesbians. By the way they were dressed and stuff. Huge MAGA people. And there was another group on the ship. I can't remember the name of the organization they were with. But they're a bunch of California hippie types that they're one of these, I don't know, they're groups like your sister would belong to, Steve. They, you know what they did on the cruise while we were having a good time drinking and partying and socializing? They would have guru sessions about manifestation. And manifestation. And they would sit around and manifest or try to manifest what they want in life, right? I mean, it's real hippie stuff, right?
Sounds like my sister.
Yeah, but I was shocked. They were the ones I encountered were so MAGA. So we got the bikini girls, we got the hippies. You understand what I mean? The support.
You got everybody.
Exactly. Except the freaks and geeks that you see in front of these Tesla dealers. And it's really amazing, this coalition that we have in the Republican Party now. It's not that I didn't run into a lot of never Trumpers, because I did. And even though when we went into the islands, I wore my MAGA gear. We were in the Dominican Republic. And let me tell you, Steve, the Dominican Republic, oh my goodness, it's talk about third world. I wasn't expecting it to be so third world. I thought Haiti was
some serious poverty.
Oh my! If Dominican Republic is so much better than Haiti, which is the same island, I'd hate to see Haiti. But I was wearing my MAGA gear in the Dominican Republic. They love Trump. Dominican Republic loves Trump. All the islands we went to love Trump. You know, because I wasn't the only one wearing my MAGA gear. Our whole group was wearing MAGA gear. We went to all these islands, and so we got a lot of MAGA love on our cruise. All right, listen, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. We'll take our first break of the third hour and be right back. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we'll be back in about 90 seconds. But everyone can hear you on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah, I am wiped.
So far, so good.
Yeah, I am wiped out. Pretty tired.
I know.
I wanted to take today off, but we were off a week, so had a hard time.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 minutes. I was wrong on the time. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. We are back from our cruise. You know, I was talking about this earlier, Steve. I may have broken a record that no one else has done. I may be the first American to lose weight on a cruise. And
really?
I didn't weigh myself before, and I haven't weighed myself since I've been back. But when I was leaving the ship yesterday, I had my belt so tight it almost went around me a second time. I mean, I've put so many holes in this belt, but my pants were falling off my body the whole way off the ship. My jeans, and I'm wearing jeans now that are falling off of my body. The shirt I am wearing is, I don't know how many sizes too big for me now, and this shirt was tight when I got it, and I didn't get it that long ago. I just lost weight, and those of you that were on the cruise, you saw what I was eating. I was eating what you guys were eating, even desserts. Okay, on cruise ships you can order as much as you want. One night we at my table we ordered pretty much every dessert from every restaurant on the ship, and I know, they don't let you know you can do that. You just have to know, but you can do that. And I have lost weight. And, of course, I'm talking about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And no exercise. I did no exercise. I mean, on a cruise, I do walk more than I walk at home, okay? Because, I walk around the ship. I take the stairs, you know what I mean? And I get a cabin that's centrally located so that I can take the stairs and get to places faster, Sometimes I'm in the elevator. Sometimes I'm on the stairs. But I'm still walking a lot. But I don't really consider that exercise. Usually on cruises, I'll maintain my weight. But I have actually lost weight. And this morning, when I went to brush my teeth, I could see in my face and neck, just boom. It's like I'm melting away. And it's absolutely amazing. Now, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, not only have I not done any exercise, there's no medications. I'm not taking Ozempic, people. And as I said, I'm not eating any weirdo foods that you don't like. I was eating the great stuff on the cruise ship. I'm going to give you their number. And, if you want to lose 20 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever you want to lose, give them a call. Now, when you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. All right, you want to take some more calls?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Let's see here. And you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you? It's wonderful to have you guys back in town, and we are spoiled out here getting a fresh show every morning like we do, and an up-to-date information you provide us with. This whole thing with the tariffs, I think people aren't really grasping it, but I hope they will. This is something that should have been done many, many administrations ago, and we finally have a president that had the courage to do it. It's going to level out our international trading scene with all these so-called wonderful friends we have and traders and that. When we do that, that's actually going to favor us because we're a very competitive nation. And this should have been done a long, long time ago. And there's no way we could have kept the status quo the way things were going. They're going to bankrupt this country in short order. Now we're seeing the reindustrialization of the United States, and it's really exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. If you have a bad week or two in the trading, that's part of the deal to get this leverage playing field, and that's going to be to our advantage, and that's going to prove a booming economy.
Steve and I haven't talked to William Youngerman since we left. So
yeah, I've been trying to get
but here's the thing. So I don't know what the gold and the silver are right now. But if you listen, whenever there's a down day, we don't get depressed.
Yeah.
We say, "Oh, gold's on sale today," right? And the same thing is true with the market.
Well, I wonder what the other side, the left, is going to do when this market does surround and goes into a strong rally. That could be the beginning of the end for them, because that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I see maybe another rough week this week, but that's okay.
Well, and I'll tell you,
set ourselves up.
Listen, I'm not an economist. Somebody said earlier, oh, you're going to lose your pension. We talk about with Jupiter Joe Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Pensions are backed by annuities for the most part, so there's no risk.
Right.
Okay, so that's a bad
Right.
talking point. Somebody tell that to Rachel Maddow if she's the one spreading that stupidity.
Yeah.
This is what I learned long ago. The top 1% of income earners, which are the billionaires and the big millionaires, own half of all stocks.
Right.
80% of stocks are owned by millionaires, billionaires, and the highest six-figure earners, okay? People like me,
right.
I mean, I don't know your financial situation, but people like me, I would be considered what's known as a retail investor, okay? So
yes, that's me too.
Yeah, okay, well, retail investor, which is fine. That's what most Americans are. And so when and I learned this when AOL went public. When America Online went public, I
remember that.
It was a big deal. But by the time someone like you or me could go and buy it, we paid too much,
right.
and it going public was already. They talk about this sometimes. Was already baked into the market. It was already baked into the market. So this thing with the tariffs,
that's right.
Trump's been talking about this for years. He's been president for a couple of months and has been doing it and building up to it. This really is already baked into the market. I believe what we're seeing in the market is a manipulation by never-Trumpers like this Judge Boasberg that are trying to screw Trump and are trying to tank the market and get a talking point. Oh, it's Black Monday, and they can get that going. They don't even know what it means, but they keep saying it. They're trying to undermine Trump by driving the market down.
Yes. Well, the other thing, Brian, is that the big players tend to look at the big picture. They're, like I said, they're not the small retail investors, and they see a much brighter future once we get past this. These judges are a problem. I think it's unconstitutional. I think it will be sooner thrown out of court. It's ridiculous. Anything to stop Trump. But this is on its way, is going through, and I think people, once they see the strategy behind this, will appreciate what Trump has done.
Yeah.
Maybe a week or two of some tough time, but after that, boy, we were in great position. And this had to be done. We had to do something economically in this country to save it and to strengthen us. And he's the guy that did it. So I think he owes a debt of gratitude. I really do.
That's right.
So,
that's right. Hey, listen, I got to run for a bottom of the hour break.
All right.
All right.
Great
Take
to
care.
have you guys back.
It is good to be back. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold. We'll take our break for the bottom and be right back. Steve, you there?
I am.
All right, got 1 minute.
Think.
Well, yeah. 1 minute. A little dehydrated. That's the alcohol, guys. All right. So I'm going to put you on hold real quick, Steve. Hold on. Okay. You there, Steve?
I hope so.
Yeah, I got you. All right. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. It is the Steve Kane Show, and we are back from our cruise. It's good to be back, and it's good to hear that you guys are happy we're back. Yeah, we've had great calls all day, Steve. I mean, this is just from 6 a.m. till now. It's been great.
Well, it's an exciting time to be alive.
Only if you're an American. You know, one of the things I get in our live chats on YouTube is, because it's YouTube, there's people from all over the world in there. And people come in from other countries, and they're like, well, in Europe, they're laughing at you. Or, why do you hate Japan? And what they don't understand is Americans don't give a rat's behind what these other countries think. We just don't care. It's not important. They're not important. And, and I'm sorry, we just don't care what other countries and their people think about us. I'm sorry to tell you, it's nice to be number one. All right. Back to the phones. Let's go. Let's go here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Oh, hey, Jay.
I'm in Jersey.
Yeah, some of your...
I'm in Jersey. Y'all are on the moon somewhere.
Yeah, some of our listeners in our group were asking about you on the high seas over the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure that was a real nasty conversation, wasn't it?
No, it was kind of laughing.
Sure.
Everybody was kind of laughing.
I know. I'm pretty sure they were.
At you.
We all laugh at you. We all laugh at you.
Oh, really? You sit around. You have a group of.
You're one of the biggest idiots we ever said.
Who's the we?
Yeah.
Who are you sitting around laughing at us with?
Yeah, we laugh at you crazy Trumpers, and especially you, because you promote the craziness. Because right now, all of y'all seem to be on the moon or Mars somewhere. Because you don't seem to be on planet Earth.
All right. Well, you got a lot of colorful platitudes. Could you have something specific?
Yeah, I do. Let alone when the stock market is plummeting. Oh, Trump is like, you see what I've done? Why y'all saying it's okay that the stock market is crashing? Because it's already crashed overseas. You know what I mean. Don't be stupid. You're already stupid. Don't be stupider. And that's a word I made up.
Crashing?
Okay? Now, let me just say, this is what I call for. Let me get to that, and then we'll see where you go from there. Trump says he's going to bring all the factories back to America, and everything is going to be fine. Do you know that the factories left over 30 years ago or more? Do you know that the factories just can't start working next week, 2 weeks from now, a year from now? Because we don't have the equipment, we don't have the supplies, we don't have the experienced people. We don't have any of it. So do you realize those factories aren't coming back because they're paid cheaper overseas? It's too late. You can't start making cars here. Wait a minute. You can't start making cars here because you don't have the equipment to make the cars here. So that's not going to happen. But you're too dumb to know that.
All right. Now, Jay, we've been gone for a week, so he has to get his whole weekly 2-week fill at us in one call here. You are aware that we do make cars in America, right?
You do aware that we don't make the cars and all the factories like they make over there. You are aware of that, don't you?
You said we can't make cars here, but we do.
No, we cannot open factories that make the cars by bringing them back to America.
You're my favorite call of the day today. You are. I'm not joking. You're in shock? Why do you think I say that?
No, I'm not in shock because I don't see how you feel 401ks are just being taken away. And you're like, oh, this is so cool. And all your nutty friends, oh, this is all so cool. Trump is doing such a great job. Where grocery prices are higher.
No, what you're demonstrating is the difference between a winner and a loser.
Trump's a loser.
No, you are and think like a loser. How can you call Trump a loser? He's a multi-billionaire and president again after everything they did. And you say that's a loser?
He's a convicted felon.
And by a corrupt judge.
No.
You know the assassins of Medgar Evers. You're familiar with Medgar Evers?
Let's talk about the factory.
No,
Let's talk about the factory. That's what I called about.
I don't care what you called to talk about. I'm talking about. I'm talking. No, I am talking about what you called to talk about. You just are too stupid to understand that. You're familiar with Medgar Evers.
Can you answer the question?
Can't
answer it.
I am answering, just not in the way that you imagined in the mirror this morning that I'd be answering. Okay?
You can't do
Jay,
it.
let me take a shot here. Jay.
Yeah, let Steve try to make a shot. Let's see if he can do it.
I want to ask you, Jay, you're aware that you don't lose anything if you don't sell.
That's
You're
right.
aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Have you sold any stocks today?
He doesn't own any stocks, probably.
Do you own any
Boy,
stocks?
oh boy. Neither one. You know what? This is called deflection. You can't answer that
you
question.
not knowing what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
You can't. But then if I don't know what I'm talking about, can you fill me in on the factory?
I think it's one of those instances, Jay. You got to check your spam folder for some talking points.
Oh, see? You can't do it. You can't do it because you know I'm right.
No, we're both doing it. You just don't know the answer.
You know I'm right, and you can't. Then answer it.
We both answered it. Steve said...
No, you didn't.
Steve said that you don't lose money in the market until you sell.
I asked you, how can the factories come back when we can't do it? Tell me how.
They already are. Ford's building. I lost, 3 or 4 plants they're building.
Oh, my God. You're making stuff up now because you can't answer
No,
it.
I'm just informed.
You're idiots. You're idiots.
But I want to talk about this.
And all your listeners that's believing that this thing that's happening is real good about all of these the stock market crashing, you're idiots. It's not a good thing.
You know, you guys that go around...
Why do y'all think this is a good thing?
Jay, this conversation...
You're cheering.
This will be a 3-way conversation or a 2-way conversation. If you engage and stop interrupting, it'll be a 3-way. Or Steve and I will just talk amongst ourselves. You know, you all who call Trump a convicted felon. Civil rights leader Medgar Evers was murdered. They got his killers, they put him on trial, and they were acquitted by a judge and a jury. Okay? There's a long history of corrupt Democrat judges. The judge whose courtroom Trump was convicted in is as corrupt as the judge in the Medgar Evers case, and you know that.
But they showed the evidence.
Oh, yeah, but.
On Trump. So
yeah, but.
Why are we talking about Medgar Evers when I asked you about the factory?
Well, I am not being interrogated.
You can't do it.
I did it.
Y'all are cheering.
We did it.
Cheering for this craziness.
All right, I appreciate the call. Oh, my goodness. I can only handle so much stupid, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, he's got more than you can handle, that's for sure.
You know, and it's interesting. It seems to me that the people that are complaining the most about the drop in the stock market don't own stocks.
Another interesting observation.
Isn't that something? Yeah. I mean, I just, they just are, Polly won a cracker. Rachel Maddow said it, so I'm going to say it, It's ridiculous. If the stock, listen, there's going to be stock market drops all week probably. That's the way it is. But it'll be back up next week. That's the nature of things. Because when the market goes down, those big money investors come in and they buy, and it drives the prices up. And these hedge funds and others manipulate stock prices all the time. so that they have buying opportunities or sell opportunities. So, you know, I don't follow the Dow because I think it's fake and manipulated every day of the week. You know, so I don't pay. Now, I don't own any stocks. But but you know, even if I did own stocks, I wouldn't follow it every day. First off, it'll give you a heart attack. But second, it's manipulated. All right, listen, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. We're going to take our last break and be right back. All right, Steve, you there? Steve? Steve, you there? All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. I think I lost Steve, but let me try. All right, Steve, are you back with us? All right, I lost Steve there, but I'll go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Rand from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Rand.
I'm calling in just to respond. Hey, Brian, I'm just calling just to respond to that lady or guy, I'm not sure, about we cannot turn around the manufacturing in the U.S. Remember, during COVID, there was a deficit of ventilators. And when President Trump enacted the Operation Warp Speed, in 3 months, we had surplus of ventilators. And ventilators are very difficult to manufacture. So this narrative going around that America cannot turn it around, it's a defeatist mentality and
a loser mentality. You know, and if you remember, I'm glad you brought that up because I'd forgotten. It's been 5 years. But they took a factory that was making something else and converted it to making the respirators.
Exactly.
Right? And which I was blown away, and they did it almost overnight.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. We will win.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Take care. Take care. We've had great calls all day, I must say. Incredible calls. Let me try Steve again because I think I lost him. Steve, you back with us? All right. I'm just going to have to move on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Hey, Steve. It's Mike from Houston. How are you guys?
Hey, Mike. What's up?
Oh, not much. Good to have you back, by the way. Yeah, I just want to amplify on something that your callers have been touching on this morning, and it relates tangentially to tariffs. But I just wanted to point out, despite how it was sold to the American public by the Democrats, the manifest object behind dismantling our industrial base and transferring our production capacity overseas never had anything to do with easing the economic burden on American consumers or lowering costs at the cash register. It was about increasing manufacturers' profit margins through lower production costs. And I remember the example that the Clinton administration used to sell NAFTA to us, which in my opinion was the first of many trade agreements that gutted American manufacturing. But they used shoes as an example. because who doesn't need shoes? And they said, hey, they took a brand name pair like Florsheim or something, and they said, yeah, it costs about $120 for the American consumer to buy a pair, but if we outsource to Indonesia, even though the manufacturer has to ship the shoes all the way across the United States, the consumer would get a great price reduction at the cash register. That's not true. Have you taken a look at the cost of shoes today?
Yeah.
There's still, a pair of Florsheins is still about $120.
That's right.
Okay? So it was complete BS. It had nothing to do with helping the American consumer and easing our economic burden. It was about gouging free labor. And I'll tell you the other thing. The other hook that they used, the other approach they used to sink the hook was they appealed to the American heartstrings. They said, by outsourcing our industrial base abroad, we'll be improving the standard of living among these people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I heard you just talking about being down in Haiti. Has Haiti's standard of living improved? What about Mexico's or any country in Central South? If the standard of living has improved by outsourcing American production all over the world, why is everybody, running over each other,
third
trying
world
to immigrate to the U.S.?
Yeah, why are they third world?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then the other thing I wanted to point out is all trade policies like treaties and alliances, they have shelf lives. And then maybe there was a time back in the 90s when the wages of American industrial workers were high, which might have caused manufacturers to consider alternatives like outsourcing abroad. But the economic pendulum is decidedly swinging back in favor of renewed domestic production.
You're absolutely right. All right, now let's see here. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Ken from Coral Springs.
Hey, Ken, what's up?
I'm just calling because Steve told me to call in. I was sitting at his table on the cruise, my wife and I, Kathy.
Oh.
And, we were at the table next to you guys. So we went down and talked to Steve and his wife and his son. They were just awesome. But we have never been on a cruise before, and this cruise, I don't see how it can be any better. Perfection is perfection. And the ship, the crew, the group, there's so many people. You get to know several, throughout the cruise, and you kind of hang with them. But the outings, the ice cream social, the whole group, and Ian and his wife are just unbelievable.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I had a great time too, and so did Steve. And our next one is I'm calling it the 2019 pricing, because the next cruise, the price is what the cruises were. Really 7 years ago, because we leave in 26 a year from now. So I'm hoping more people can join us that may not have been able to on our recent cruises. But yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, we were going to try to sign up, but we had to come home and look at our calendar for March next year. But we're working on talking to Ian and getting that all set up. But yeah. I just wanted to let you know that the Steve Kane cruise, this is our first, and it is definitely something you got to go to.
Well, I appreciate it. All right, take care. Good to see you.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. I see we had good people on the cruise. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dave from Detroit.
Hey, Dave.
So now that you're back, have you put some gas in those little gay vehicles that you own? And seen the rise in gas prices that Trump caused?
What kind of vehicles? I missed that.
Your little gay mobile.
What's a gay mobile?
Like a Mini Cooper, a Vespa. Gay vehicles.
Well, I'm a little confused by you as a liberal.
Did you see the gas prices jump back up?
No. This is what I'm confused about. As a liberal, why would you consider gay to be a negative? Yeah, that's what I thought. You didn't think. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Stephen Bryan, good morning. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. The talk about the market is a little bit, it's just the left and the rhinos, the dinos, they kind of use it as sort of a propaganda club to beat everybody with depression and fear. If you look at Donald Trump back when he was first elected, November 8th. You go to November 9th. The market has a pop. It's about 18,000. When he leaves office, it's about 37,000. He doubles the market in 4 years. That's 18% a year. That's incredible. Okay, those are incredible numbers. What does Joe Biden do? If he did the same thing, the market would be trading at 72,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. And quite honestly, a correction is one thing. A crash is a 20% move in a short period of time. A correction was 100% expected by anybody who knows anything about the market because Joe Biden, the inflation dollars, he kept things artificially low, like gas prices, using the strategic oil reserve. And you look at what Biden did when he bled private sector jobs, middle class manufacturing. Okay, what else did he do? He added government jobs and made it seem like it was a huge success. Sent condoms to Mozambique. He printed money like a crackhead. Millions of illegals in the country. No wage growth. It's a blueprint to ruin and destruction. That's what Joe Biden was. Donald Trump is the opposite. Creating private sector jobs. And Jersey J talking about factories. They can't build factories. Masayoshi's son, if this was, I don't know, a month back or whatever it was, he said he was going to bring in $100 billion. That, to me, when I first heard that, I'm like, okay, Trump pushes him to $200 billion. As soon as he said that, I told my sister that day, Trump's going to bring in $7 trillion into this company in the first year because I believe that's all our human capital can handle in the country. Yeah. He's already at $4 trillion. You want to know where those factories are going to come from, Jersey J? $4 trillion builds a hell of a lot of factories and puts a hell of a lot of middle-income people to work. And when those people have dollars, they spend it, and that's the pawn.
I mean, look at all the construction that was done in the 30s with the New Deal, right? Like Hoover Dam and stuff. I mean, Jay is, he's just a loser, and he thinks like a loser. That's why he is a loser.
Well,
all right,
America,
go ahead. Give you the last.
We're strong because we make a lot of money and we can spend it. We have discretionary income. That's why all the people want to come here and sell. And guess what? You don't get to come here and sell anymore for free. You got to pay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good to talk to you. All right. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. While we were in the Dominican Republic and all these places, I still got a notification on my phone anytime there was movement at my door. And, of course, I'm talking about the incredible free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's with the installation of your Slomin Shield. And it's just a great, great thing to have. It really, truly is. Slomin's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call, 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Frankie from Florida.
Hey, Frankie.
Hey, how are you?
All right.
Republican, just calling to say, what do you expect the stock market to do after the tariff announcement? It's on a downward spiral right now.
Yeah.
What do you expect Trump to do to rebound that? And when do you expect him to
Nothing.
do the no tips on server tips?
Well, that'll come, but so
Or
far
no tax on service tips.
So hold on a second. You asked, what is Trump going to do to bring the market back up? He's already doing
Correct.
it. He's already doing it. The tariffs.
How so?
Equalizing the tariffs.
But isn't that what caused the tariff? Isn't that what's causing the stock market to crash?
Nope.
You don't think after he announced the tariffs that's what caused the
What do you
stock
mean
market to
announce
start
the
plummeting?
tariffs? He's been talking about this for a year. He's been promising to do it for a couple of months now. The reason the stock
But
market...
once they finally came into effect, like once he finally had announced it, that's when everything started happening. Would you agree?
Because the globalists are trying to stop Trump, like Judge Boasberg with the gang members. They're driving the market down on purpose to try to stop Trump on the tariffs. This is a market manipulation.
Oh boy.
What have you lost money on stocks today? Oh, he hung up. It's almost like talking to Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation yesterday. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, it was a great first day back. And even though I'm under-caffeinated and pretty exhausted from a vacation, the show went pretty well today. And we've had great calls. But that guy, he gave up, because little logic there. He couldn't quite figure it out. And another example of the people that are most upset about the stock market going down are people that don't own stocks. So why are they upset? Because they were told to be upset. They just hate Trump. But no, I do believe this is a market manipulation by the big money globalist, and they have the ability to influence the markets. They do it all the time for buying opportunities and for selling opportunities. If you're on hold, we're out of time for today. But we'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 6 a.m. Take care. All right, listen, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm going to run. But if you're new, make sure you subscribe. All right? Take care.